Okay, Goldwingers, let's get ready to move on into the radiator portion of this conversion. Same thing, everyone should be in the same configuration that I'm in right now. You got your upper plate, that's hand tight. Nothing should be torqued down or tight yet. So all these bolts should be hand tight plus a little bit just to hold it into place. Same thing with these two. You can torque these two down if you want. But the alternator slide bolt, just tight enough to hold it in. This nut here, you notice that I put the washer back on the inside like I talked about earlier before. And this washer. And also to this bolt back here in the back. None of these bolts should be torqued down yet, because you need to have it all into place. Also with the fan belt on, you need to have the fan belt and everything in this configuration so you can kind of get a guideline on how the radiator is supposed to be positioned so it doesn't come in contact with the belt. Alright, so we're going to wind up and get ready to get into the radiator, and I think that this is going to require some good fabrication type skills to kind of find out how you're going to get the radiator to attach to these bolts, or either use another form of method. What I was thinking about using another form of method was to go get me a 1-inch U-bolt and have it lengthwise about 5 to 7 inches here, and had the upper part of the bolt to go through the bottom of the radiator. I will try to demonstrate that as I go further into it. Alright, now let's take a look at the radiator. Now remember, anytime you're doing putting the radiator up in there to get a position of it, you can't do it with the cap on. You must take the cap off. So what I did, I snuck in the house and got one of my wife's Ziploc bags, and that would kind of keep any debris from going inside the radiator while you pushing it up there, bringing it back down, pushing it up there, taking it back down. So it doesn't take up any space. Also, I saw on another video that the person lowered the fan. He lowered the fan by dropping these bolts and letting the fan go down. But if you look at the fan here, it's not the issue. The issue is this lip here on this bracket here for the fan. This fan here is a whole lot lower than this bracket. So I did see one issue that one guy did. He cut the bracket off. He cut this arm off. So if it looked like I need to cut that arm off and maybe grind some of this down a little bit to make sure that the belt doesn't come in contact with any of this material here. And I think that by being in a tripod, if it can stay attached with a tripod with just 3 screws, it should be able to survive with 1, 2, and 3 legs. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a test check on that and see if I can save some space with that. I don't want to tamper with lowering that radiator down to the fan, because with the fan lowering it down, you don't want it to get into a wobble or whatever, because I'm gonna see if I can do a quick measurement on that. From there to that first piece of contact there is only that deep. Alright, and that's about half of an arm, almost a little bit over half of the arm on the fan bracket. Alright, so let me wind up and do another test issue on that. But before I do what you can to protect the fins here on your radiator. Try not to bend them up or dent them. Alright, and on the other side, I'm looking at how much space I can save from this grill on the front. I might have to take this grill off and use something else because that is sticking out pretty far. Let's see if I can get a measurement from the radiator on how far that's sticking out. Because doing this, inches could make a big difference. Alright, I could save that much. Let me see, compare that to that. That's about the same thickness of the bracket. So I think this is gonna have to go, because I'm looking at what this does is how close it is to the fender on the front wheel of the motorcycle. Because a whole lot of people haven't taken into consideration that when I'm gonna turn the wheel back around. Look how much distance I have right here. The radiator probably gonna be out to here. Now if you hit a bump or something, or you had to stop real hard, this fork here is gonna go up, and I don't want it to come into the radiator because it's gonna be a force of pressure right on that radiator. So if I can save some space by getting rid of that grill on the front, it's good enough for me, as long as it works. Alright, let's take a look. I'm holding the radiator up in there, so I guess I want about that much clearance. And like I said, you can see how much distance I have with the fender, but the wheel is turned sideways. Let me see if I can hold it. Sorry about that, I had to move it again. Let's see. By being that far out, it's still touching the fan. And look at it, it's up against the fender. So I'm gonna have to work out something. See, it's up in the bush in there, but not quite. I'm trying to do it with one hand. But as I try to do this a little bit better, I might have about that much difference in between there, and that might could get away with it. Let me do some modification, and we'll show a little bit better of a position of the radiator and the fan belt. Okay, now some of my modification, what I did, I took the screws out, so I don't want you to be saying, you know, he's showing screws taken out again. I took the last screws out, and I'm gonna remove this grill and set it off here on the side. And I think that's gonna give me about 2 inches of additional space. Yeah, that's gonna save me a little bit of space. I'm gonna do another test fit up in there to see what that looks like. Now, if you don't have this type of a grill on the back of your grill, you can make one to help catch any stones from going into your fans on your radiator. Alright. Okay, now you can see that there's a little bit of a gap now between that and that fan belt on that lower leg back there. And look at the distance I have now with the front grill taken off. So if you want to take that front grill off, go ahead and take it off now. So that'll help you with your modification a little bit. Hope you guys can see that. See that spot? Right there in the middle. That's the fan touching, that's the fan coming off. So if I grill that little bit of a piece off right there and cut that other leg off, I'll be in the good. See, this is the view from the other side. See, if I cut this bracket off right to the end of this bracket here, and I think that this piece will go over the top of that belt, and that might fix it. Still cut this whole arm off. Once I cut it there, I can take the bolt loose from this end. And I think that might be all I need to really do. Alright. I'm going to cut that off, and then I'll show you another view of that, how that'll look like after I cut the arm off. So let me go ahead and I'll do that right now. Now notice I'm doing this pre setup before I even start going to buying the parts and all that stuff. I just need to kind of get an idea of what I need and how I need to do it. Again, just to keep you in the detail mode, if you're gonna cut this bracket off like I did here, like I'm gonna do here, take these screws out first. What I did first, I took the screws out for the fan. Fan goes down still, you can't, you know, you don't want to wind up damaging the fin, so take these out so you can wind up in, then while I sit in your lap or either on the concrete, you can take these screws out. Alright, so now I'm gonna take this bracket off. Take this bracket off, and then at the same time I'm looking this too. If I cut in a little deeper here, could I still get use of that screw without it going inside that housing? I believe I could, but I don't know what's up under this housing here. But if I did have to drill another hole there, I think I will drill another hole there and use a smaller screw. I look like somebody done drilled a hole there. Alright, so let me go ahead and I'll cut that bracket, and then I'll come back and we'll install it again. Again, make sure that you get the right bracket you're cutting off. Notice that this goes up into a V. This is going up to the top. Alright, see where your bushings are? And your filler cap. Make sure you do have the one that's going up to there and the one on the left side of the bike. Alright, same one where the water hose is. Okay, everybody get their little laugh in and see what I screwed up. You know what I said to myself? Make sure you get to the bracket that's on the left where the water hose is. What do I do? By the time I walk down to my shed where I can set up the tools and all that stuff, I cut that John Brand bracket off. So I had to refabricate me another bracket. Alright, I hear y'all still laughing. Quit laughing. Same thing, took me a piece of aluminum, went from there, made the L shape down to there, put a screw. I might have to cut that screw off. But like I said, the same thing. You live and learn, but this is a critical live and learn thing. I'll put that screw in there, it doesn't interfere with the fan turning, so I got away with that one. So again, I'm gonna cut on this side. I'm gonna look for this V and stay on this side. Well, let's do it better. Let's go completely opposite of the one that I cut off. And I'm going to cut this off right here. And then shave some of that off in there like I did over here. Dang it. But I hope it'll work. Wish me luck. Alright, I temporarily got the radiator up there. And I even got it on the original bolts that was there. But as I look up here on the top, you see by me cutting that bracket off that I was talking about, look how much clearance I've got now between it. The only thing I got to worry about now, I might have to bag it off a little bit because of that fan. Let me see if I can turn the fan a little bit. Ah, crap. Well, I just got to make a little bit of distance where the fan, it's not even hitting the pulley, but I want to have a little bit of safety zone in between there so that nothing's not touching. Alright, almost there. Okay, again, those are not the original bolts. That's the original bolt right here. This is that little small extension piece I talked about earlier that I had. I think if I go and get one more with the little bolt that sticks out the tip, I think I can get by with it, and that would save me that distance that's on the where the fan, let me see if I can show it. See where the fan looks like it wants to touch the pulley. See if I can point it out. Right here, where the fan is making contact with the pulley. And I'm gonna pull it out just a little bit. So if I think I pull it off of the bolts a little bit, about that much, I think I'm cooking with gas. And still I got good clearance from up at the top where I cut that bracket. I might want to, well, I don't have to cut it. I mean, grind it anymore. But that right there saves it. But I do want to have, make sure that that pulley has got a good enough distance away from the fan. Alright. Think we might almost have it. Hang in there, we're almost there. Also, to take a look at this when you are trying to fit your radiator in. Notice right here, and you see these wear marks right here. The radiator isn't going up as far as it should to go into this cup. You probably can see it on this one, that they're only going so far just to right there and to right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand some of this off a little bit so I can get that to sit in that seat, which will give you at least a 1/4 of an inch more for it to go up. And the reason why I said that excuse me, is that when I put these other two pieces on, that instead of them going straight out like that, they have beginning to bow down a little bit. And when they bow down a little bit, it causes this pinhole or this lower hole on the radiator to give the radiator a downward motion, which causes this slack in the upper part that goes up against the upper frame. So what I did is I took I've got both sets of wrenches. I got them in millimeter and SAE. I took the 1/2 inch side of a wrench, which is a box end, put it there, gave it a little bit of an upward tug on it, and I do the other side just the same. Give it a little bit of an upward tug on it. Again, you notice that these are welded to the frame, so watch how when you bend them that you don't bend them too much and break that weld. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and adjust that, and what that does, it gives a little bit more distance upward away from your belt. Alright, so let me go ahead and make that adjustment, and I'll be showing you how the results on that worked after I do it. Also, I made sure to show you how to remove these little bushings. Say they just slipped on, same thing, slipped on there, slipped on here, and out they come. Slip on, slip off, pull them on, pull them off. Alright, so that's a quick show you on how you can do that. Now I was thinking if you wanted to go the other way, I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying it for those who want to be adventurous and do it. Get your some insulation noodle from one of these home do-it-yourself stores, and get you some of that noodle that will go all here all the way across, and you just fit it right on up in there. Now you might could glue that to this with some type of adhesive, but you just want that cushion between here and the radiator. I'm not gonna do it unless I screw these up, so that's something to think about. Okay, change 2. Now remember, with this change 1, well, I meant to say change 1 instead of change 2, but with this change 1, remember everything that you're doing or I'm doing is in a test phase. I haven't bolted anything down securely tight yet, but I just want to make sure that everything clears everything. And this is one of things I want you guys to view the video first, then go back and then try it on your bike. So this is one of the things I want you to kind of see. Now, as I took them off and I wanted to place them up there, you kind of see that it does go to the bottom of the rod there. Now if you look on this side, now you see this plate right here? This plate is the same plate that belongs to this right here. Now what I had to do is that plate was interfering with this side of that bushing. And what I did, I took it and I took my finger, and it's still enough you would take your finger and you can push it up out the way. Again, now you can kind of see that one fits nice and flush. So now I'm not gonna fool these bushings any at all. But it's one thing that I do want to take a look at. Now I do wonder, does these need to be spread out a little bit, just a little bit? And same thing with that one, spread it out just a little bit, and you can take a pair of pliers and or either adjustable wrench, because adjustable wrench will give you more wide of a surface to bend the whole thing instead of at a certain point. I'm gonna try it with the bushings on it before I bend them, because again, I'm gonna go back up to here. That piece right there was touching this piece here, and it wasn't giving me the lift that I wanted. Notice right here, sorry about the sun is trying to go down on me. Here we go. Now you notice right here where the cushion is, then this beam right here, this part of the frame, is real kind of close to there, so there's nothing else up above there except for that right there. And I don't think that bushing is going that high. So I'm gonna try it again, since I bent this piece up and I bent these upward some. And now I might have to go back and bend these up a little bit more, but we'll see in a minute. Now I'm gonna show you one thing else too while I'm thinking here. Yes, I'm dragging the radiator around. You see this little, I guess it's a solid pin bushing thing. I've got one in this side, but as it always goes, you can have one on one side, but I don't have one on the other side. So I'm gonna have to go and jerry rig me up something, because what that does, it makes the bolt go through there without having any flex, without any flex from this rubber bushing. Alright, so if you can hold on to these, hold on to them and don't lose them, because I'm gonna go down to my shed and see if I've got something similar to that that's got a screw hole in it. I think I do, so it's gonna be a while for me to go down there. Alright, hang tight. Hope these little tips are helping you. These bikes are something else to work on, but they built like tanks. Okay, Goldwing riders, here's a little tip for you. You know, when your wife goes there in the shed and say, you should throw some of this stuff away, don't pay that no mind, because here's some of the stuff that you're gonna wind up. You can see that when you kept it for a reason, and you can see how that fits there. Now watch this. I went down there to my shed, found this 3/16 inch hose. Watch this. Bam. Same John Brown side. Now watch what I did. I went and measured the distance on how long the shaft is. Put that in there. Bam. Bada boom, bada bing. I can finally see it. Bada boom, bada bing. And that's going to replace this little piece that's going to go on the other side. So now I've got this piece for this side. Now one thing that you're going to have to do The inner hole on this hose is not the same size as what it normally is. Again, this hose is a 3/16. I had to start off with a smaller drill bit, and I worked my way up to a 3/16. Alright, and then when I took that 3/16, also it wouldn't hurt to have a vise. If you don't have a vise, I recommend that you guys get one, because that vise is come in handy for holding the bracket while I cut that. And so if you don't have a vise, make sure you go get one, for it's nothing but a small vise. Now I took that drill, put it in the vise, and I started off small, a little bigger than 3/16, a little smaller than 3/16, and then when I got up to 3/16, it went on through, and then after that I just worked it in and out, worked it in and out. Now as you're working it in and out, observe what rubber material is coming out, and do a test so much that you can take the 3/16 inch addition thing I got and stick it in there. It should have a little drag to it, and that's what you want. Again, a bada boom, bada bing. Alright, I'm gonna stick this on there and see how it works, and see if it pushes the elevation to the radiator up to the top some. Also too, Goldwing riders, I'm gonna leave this technique on how you want to do it, but I think of getting the radiator in was the biggest portion of it. But to get that hose, you have to get a specific hose that's gonna come out and do a drastic curve down to that fitting there, and then the same thing for this fitting. It's gonna have to go from here with some type of a twist. You may have to collapse the hose just a little bit, just for it to make that little bit of a turn to go to the water pump. Try not to get one that where you have to collapse it so bad or put too much of a bend in it, because then you'll be starving the water pump. So just watch that on how you do that. But other than that, if you're, oh yeah, too, I got a bolt on it, and it's got a all the way out to here. I might put a little Loctite on it. I didn't use a washer or anything. I just pushed in on the rubber till it got a thread on it, and then I took a couple of turns on it to put it on there, just for me to get it to this point. Alright, again, congratulations, you've been hanging with me and you've went this far. Hang on in there with me till we do the wiring, and that'll be almost it. Well, pretty much that should be it, because putting water in the radiator and starting it up and wiring it, that's not too big of an issue. But it's that alternator and that radiator, which is the two fabrication skill, and you got to have a little bit of patience with it, because it'll make you break your oath of not cussing and whatever. Hope I didn't do that. Alright, again, you two, again, thanks for watching. Share, give me a like, give me some comments. Been through a whole lot with this, dealing with it for about a week. We had some rain, but I'm in an overhead cover on my wife's back porch, and my wife told me I got to get this bike off of here and paint the porch. Alright, okay, Goldwing riders, again, now that you see that is flush, what I did take my pliers and just moved it this side out with 1/4 inch. I'm talking about just about like that much, and the one on the other side, moved it that way 1/4 inch, and I did the other side the same way, and that made that kind of fit flush on that cross member on the frame. Now for these pieces here, I had to figure something out. I don't have enough sticking out here. I might take this rubber bushing off and replace it with a washer. And also too, I did bent those up a little bit too much, so I had to bend them back down just a little at a time, and then I took my hand and pushed it down, because I wanted more of my upward thrust to the bushings at the top. All right, so, and then also too, take a look at the belt distance. A lot of belt distance from that fan guard that was on there. And then look at the fan. The fan has a lot of travel distance as well. See if I can take it with my pointer and show it. Come on, work with me. And so the fan gets by with no problem, no issues. Alright, so can we get another bada boom, bada bing for that? All that about it. Quick, easy fix. I'm gonna see if I can cut that washer all smooth and find something a little thinner so I can get some bite on the threads on that. But I might can still push that in a little bit and grab that screw and just grab it just a little bit. Alright, so again, here we are. The installation of the radiator, and look at my distance on my bike. Now that front grill, fluff, a lot of show. I ain't not the show. I wanted to do this conversion because I wanted to get the chicken wing back on the road. All right. So the same thing. I would leave that off. I would get something else to kind of do a little modification on the outside. Might go around the outside of it with diamond plate, and that might do it. Same thing. Remember, watch these screws when you take that grill off. Don't screw that screw in there so tight because it'll go right up against the fins on that radiator. Alright? Okay, YouTube, like I say, we can consider this as a done deal. If you had those little small issues like that to fix, you got to figure that out on your own. Cause like I said, the same thing. It's not a bad issue to fix. It's just gonna have to use some your ingenuity to figure how you're gonna do it. Alright, so can I call this one closed? I'm gonna go ahead and call it closed, and I'm gonna go on to the next phase of wiring the 1-wire alternator with 8-gauge wire from there all the way to the positive post. And I'm gonna have a I got a 40 amp breaker. I hope a 40 amp breaker is good. And for that breaker, I'm gonna get it to go from there to the positive. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. And then also too, before I do anything, somebody leave me a note and say, cut those wires from that stator before you burn something up. Alright, so when I get near to here, as a matter of fact, before I start that, I'm gonna cut the wires before I do it. I could cut them now, but yeah, I'm about ready to get this video posted. Today is the 13th, and I've been D'ing around with this thing long enough. Alright, thanks YouTube for watching.